Yo, you know the drill at this point. Let's see who we can piss off today by simply talking about the most well-respected tier list in the Wuthering Waves community as far as the North American server is concerned. We're here again at pridewind.gg, checking out the tier list for Wuthering Waves based on the currently active Tower of Adversity, which is essentially like the Spiral Abyss or the Memory of Chaos if you've ever played Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail. Now, we obviously have this tier list here. I've heard, by the way, I am aware, okay, I was made aware of a very, very popular tier list with the CN community right now on Bilibili. However, that's going to take a really, really long time to do this tier list and the other tier list at the same time. So I decided to make this tier list first, and then I'll go make the other tier list later. So stay tuned for that. That video will go up either later today or tomorrow, depending on what part of the world you're in. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into this here. We have the main DPS slot, we have the hybrid slot, and the support slot. Just so that you guys are aware, the hybrid slot does not only include sub-DPS characters. It includes multi-role characters that deserve to be categorized as a hybrid style character that can fit multiple roles, okay? So I just wanted to keep that in mind. For instance, Yinlin is a sub-DPS character. But let's go ahead and take a look at somebody else like Genshin, who is a sub-DPS character, but they also have shielding and things like that as well that could potentially even act as a main DPS on the field. So just wanted to let you guys know some examples of that. And in fact, you also have the main character Rover, the Spectro version of them. They have healing capabilities, but they also have damaging abilities. So they're sitting here in the multi-role or the hybrid slot. Okay, so that's how that works. Let's go ahead and dive into this. So Jian sitting here at T0. And we're going to go over the main DPS slot first, then hybrid, then support. Jian, and just so you guys are aware, the calculations for this were done without his signature weapon in mind to keep things fair to all of the other characters. So just to prove what I'm saying here, Lustrous Razor, that is the standard banner 5-star weapon. So he's going to be using the same weapon as Kilcharo, for example, because they both use a broadsword, in order to keep the calculations fair. Because it wouldn't be very fair to give him a signature light cone and not the most ideal option for other characters. So again, Pridewind, big W for that one. No, I'm not sponsored by them, but I will glaze them when they do things right, and I will call them out when they do things wrong, like Ling Yang. Ling Yang does not deserve to be down here. This is either they didn't test him for long enough, or this is a skill issue. It's one of the two. So I think Pridewind just didn't test him for long enough to find out that his damage potential is actually more like a tier 0.5 or a tier 1 character, not a tier 2 character. This was a mistake, but let's go ahead and talk about that later. Let's go ahead and talk about Jian for a second. So Jian is a tier 0 character, and you'll see on the Bilibili video, for example, that if he does not have his signature weapon, that, believe it or not, Encore has higher damage potential than him. Believe it or not, Encore has higher damage potential on a well-built, very powerful team, very high skill ceiling, very high gameplay. We're talking about like super duper ultra top level play Encore stuff here. That's the only way you'll be able to do it, but the damage potential is, believe it or not, higher than Jian without his signature weapon. With his signature weapon, he's literally the best main DPS character in the game right now, which makes sense. He's the premium banner DPS from the 1.0 patch. So everything is generally making sense here. But wow, can you believe Encore having higher damage potential than Jian? That's crazy, bro. But it's true. Now let's talk about Kilcharo. Kilcharo is a very, very strong character. He's the character that I'm going to be maining right now for main DPS because I'm eventually going to be getting Yinlin. And just so that you guys are aware, Yinlin is going to be the best support for Kilcharo. And in case you guys didn't know, this This combo between Yinlin and Kilcharo, this damage potential is, believe it or not, higher than the damage potential of the best Jian teams that are currently available in the game right now. because Yinlin is just going to be such a good support for Kelcharo. That's my prediction at this point, but I'm not the only one predicting that, because she can buff electric type damage as well as all the other buffs that she has going on. Guess who is a very strong electric type DPS? Oh yeah, it's Kelcharo. So these two are going to be a very, very big powerhouse team setup. Now, let's move on. We already kind of talked about Encore. If you learn how to hot swap with her, it's not that hard to learn. But when you learn how to hot swap with her, her damage potential goes through the roof, because you use one of her abilities and then you switch to a new character. That ability that you used has to go off no matter what, even though you switch to a new character. So it's almost like for a few seconds there, having two characters on the field at the same time, stacking up and multiplying all of that damage together, which is what makes her so strong. Before the game ever released, people thought that this was going to be a downside to her, because they thought that she would be vulnerable during this attack. But she's not. It's quite the opposite. She literally can't even take any damage at all. So what people thought would be a flaw is actually the best part of her entire kit. So Encore, super underrated, very powerful character. Can't say enough good things about her. Now let's go ahead and move on to tier 1. Dungeon. Oh my god. This is one of the main characters that I wanted to get before this, before patch 1.0 started, right? I really liked her before the game started, and I wanted to pick her up again. And I've been incredibly unlucky trying to get her, because she's on the same banner as Gion. So is Mortify over here. But for some reason, the only 4-star character that I've gotten to drop off the Gion banner is Chishia. God damn it, like, why am I so unlucky right now? Anyways, rant over. Dungeon is incredibly strong. Her Havoc damage is really great. And coincidentally, she pairs very well with another Havoc character in Rover. These two are very strong together. Rover and Denjin, this team setup is really powerful. And if you haven't seen the gameplay of it, go check it out. It's really good. She's a very strong 4-star character. As you can see, she's the strongest 4-star character for DPS right now as a main DPS character. As a main DPS, she has the best damage potential from a 4-star right now. And she does sit in a multi-role scenario, so you don't have to use her as the main DPS if you don't want. She could fit a sub-DPS role as well. So just keep that in mind. Plus, she's a cute redhead, and everybody likes redheads. And Rover. Rover is also an incredibly strong character. The main character of the game actually being good? What? Oh my god. Like with Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, it took like kind of a while before they released a good version of the main character that's actually viable. In Honkai Star Rail, the Harmony Trailblazer is good, but the other two versions are not. In Genshin Impact, the Dendro version of the main character is good, but every single other version just simply is not. It's not the case in Wuthering Waves. Both versions of Rover right now are actually really good characters. So if you like the way the main character looks, level them up. They're actually worth the investment. They're very strong for Havoc damage. Anyways, let's move on down to tier 2, which is the last tier for the DPS role. And we'll pick up the pace a little bit here with some of these other ones. I just wanted to kind of cover the DPS slot. It's the one that has the most kind of controversy because we have Ling Yang sitting here. Ling Yang, I already went over this. He does ladder combos. His damage potential is really high. What are ladder combos? Well, ladder combos are when you basically drag an enemy through the air and lock them into what's known as true combo. The enemy can't act because they're stuck in true combo. This means you can't take damage, and your damage potential is really high. They literally can't hurt you when they're locked in true combo. I don't understand how Pridewind missed this so hard. But if the enemy falls out of the combo, everything falls apart. His damage goes away, you're vulnerable again, and everything falls apart. But if you're a really good player, you have really good teams around him, Ling Yang's potential is actually up here more like tier 0.5 or a high tier 1 character. So this was a bit of a mix-up. This was a bit of a mess-up. This is a bit of slander. Ling Yang does not deserve to be down here, but just so you guys are aware, most of you probably don't think he's good because he's hard to use. It's true. He's hard to use, but he is very good. But again, he's hard to use. If you can't play him properly, it doesn't matter how good he is, right? If you can't play him properly, he's never going to be very good for you. So to be fair to Pridewind, he's not going to be good for most players. But that doesn't, you don't base a character's tier list like placing off of the like bad players or mid players. You're supposed to base it off of the highest possible outcome that they could have. And at his highest potential, he's up here at tier 0.5 or at tier 1. It is hard to achieve that, but that doesn't mean it's not there. So I just wanted to point that out. And with Chishia, the problem with Chishia, in my opinion, is her S0 version is like not super powerful, but once you start pumping her up, once you give her enough resonance chains, she actually becomes really strong. It's not my favorite playstyle. I don't like that when you use certain abilities that she has, she pushes you away from the fight. She literally pushes you away from the enemy. And in a game like Wuthering Waves, you are rewarded by high octane, in your face, nuts to butts, balls to the walls, in your face damage. Getting a sword character or some like monk character or some melee type character and getting right up in the enemy's face and attacking them head on. You're able to quickly parry and quickly dodge, and it's easier to react to things, and you're highly rewarded for a very, very intense play style. With Chishia, she sort of does the opposite. She starts pulling you away from the combat, and I don't really like that. Technically, she can be pulled away from the combat, and then once one of your characters has a hot swap ready, when you hot swap with the other character, you will get pulled back into the combat right away. So if you are playing with that type of play style in mind, then it's totally fine. But every once in a while, it might be annoying because you'll switch to her, she'll pull away from combat, and then you might want to get right back into the nitty-gritty again, and you might not have a hot swap ready, so you might have to either wait or don't attack with her and then move forward and get in, or switch to another character and get in. So a little bit of a fall off there, which is why, in my opinion, she does deserve to be here at tier 0. Now, let's go ahead and move on. The rest of these should be a lot clearer. The rest of these should be a lot easier. So we're going to speed run some of the rest of this stuff, hopefully. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. Now, Yinlin is an incredibly powerful sub-DPS character. She's going to be the best support character for Kelcharo, but that's not why she's up here at tier 0. Even without Kelcharo, she's still a tier 0 character in my personal opinion. Her buffs are very, very strong. She fits a sub-DPS role. She'll be putting out plenty of damage on her own. She has really good cancels and other things like that. And she's also probably got the coolest design out of any character in the entire game. My personal opinion is that Yinlin has the coolest design, and then maybe Kelcharo has the coolest design after that. As far as the female characters go, I'd easily give it to Yinlin, and male characters I'd give it to Kelcharo. And so I'd probably say those two are probably the coolest back to back. And for me personally, that's probably what I'd say. I mean, obviously you have boobs down here, but I don't think that that's the only thing you should measure a character's value off of, is like how hot they are. It should be based off of their combat, and that's what we're basing it off of here. Yinlin, very strong character. If you guys want to know how strong I think Yinlin is, I might be skipping Jian in order to guarantee I get Yinlin. I'm not sure about what I do in this game. I'm free to play right now. Maybe if you guys can convince me, I might become a light spender, and I'll pull every character in the game. In Honkai Star Rail, I pull every single character in the game. That way I can properly test everybody out and put my money where my mouth is and sort of prove to you guys that what I'm saying is true, rather than just saying this stuff. So maybe you guys can convince me. Maybe if things continue to go well with the channel. So keep supporting the channel if you want to see me potentially pull every single character in the game. Anyways, let's move forward to Mortify. Mortify is a character a lot of people are practically getting near to bricking their account pulling on Jian trying to get, because he's currently available on Jian's banner along with Donjin and who else was it? Oh, Chishia. And so, like, yeah, the redheads for some reason are all on Jian's banner. I thought that was kind of funny. But he's really, really strong. He's the best pistol-based character in the game right now, and he fits a nice, fun hybrid role. He's very, very cool and has one of the coolest guy designs in the entire game, and, like, he's really, really cool. These three right here are the coolest guy designs in the game. Right here, you know, Kelcharo, Mortify, and Jian. He's super cool looking character, very strong, best pistol character in the game. and he's a really, really good support for some of the other characters that exist in the game right now. So if you can throw a couple of pulls onto if you're willing to risk throwing a couple of pulls onto Gion's banner in order to be able to get him, then that's definitely worth it. He's a very strong character. You know, I unfortunately haven't gotten lucky enough to pull him. Every single pull I've thrown towards Gian has ended up turning into a Chishia for some reason, because apparently God hates me. I must have done something bad in a past life. So let's move on to Sanhua. Sanhua is a free character that every single person gets no matter what. You don't have to risk pulling on another banner to get her. Everybody gets her if you've played the game for 5 days in a row. If you've logged in 5 days in a row, you already got her. If you're brand new to the game or you're still re-rolling in the game, you don't have her yet. But she's a very, very strong free character every single one of us gets. And look at that. She's at tier 0.5. Say, what? Yeah, she's a really, really strong character. Very good character. Some people feel like she's harder to use. I don't think so. Some people think Kolcharo's harder to use. I don't think so. So maybe I'm not the best gauge of like who's a hard character to use or not, because I don't feel like they're hard to use. But if you're more casual or you're playing on mobile, it might not necessarily be the most fun play style for you to be able to use. So just keep that in mind. Her potential is really high, but if it's not really for you, then don't invest in the character. You got her for free, so just keep that in mind. You got her for free, so yeah, just consider it. She is very strong, maybe not the easiest to use. I disagree with that, but you know, that's what I've been hearing from some people, that she's kind of harder. Now, Genshin. Genshin is really, really good. She's a jack of all trades. Now, obviously, her tier list placement isn't based on the fact that she can go on literally any team and perform well, but the fact that she can go on literally any team and fit a very, very strong role in that team is so valuable, and something that you can't see just by looking at a tier list. The tier list is based on her performance. It's not based on the fact that you can basically build any team around her because of how versatile that she is. She has shielding, she has multi-roll, she has AoE. She's kind of like a DPS in disguise, while actually just being a sub-DPS character, but her damage potential is actually high enough to potentially be a main DPS on a squad. She's really, really good, and she's probably the most sought-after standard banner character right now. Just for full disclosure, I pulled Kolcharo already. I used my Selector on Genshin because I see a ton of value in her, and my other Selector is going to go towards Verena because she's incredibly valuable as well. Very strong healer, very strong buffs. So just so that you guys see where I'm putting my money where my mouth is kind of talk, Genshin is most people's most desired character on the standard banner, because, you know, a lot of people are either getting Gian, so they might not necessarily care about, you know, Kolcharo. A lot of people might already be getting Verena or something like that. So the one character everybody seems to be interested in is Genshin off the standard banner, and it's because of the value. Not just because she's super cute, but because of the value she provides. Now let's keep moving forward. The rest of these should be very, very easy from here on out. So, Rover. Spectro Rover. Strong healer, multi-role, very good. Tier 1 on both versions of her. Very good character. Everybody gets her, and everybody can raise her up to S5. Very strong character. Can't say enough good things about the fact that a main character is actually good in a gacha game. What? Anyways, let's move forward. This is the one character I probably know the least about, is Alto. I have not played Alto that much, so, you know, in the comments, say whatever you want. Help me out here. I don't know that much about Alto. I can't say that much about Alto. I haven't really played him that much. It's still early for me. I haven't been able to play him too much yet. So let me know what your thoughts on Alto are. He's sitting here at tier 2 on the hybrid slot, and so is Yanwu, and everybody gets Yanwu. Once you clear this content, Tower of Adversity, far enough, you will be getting a Yanwu. So just keep that in mind. Everybody will get him. That doesn't necessarily make him good, because like Sanhua, where everybody gets a Sanhua and she's really, really strong, and everybody gets a Yanwu, but he's not as good as Sanhua, for example. Just because they're free doesn't mean they're good. You know what I mean? In fact, a lot of the time, because they're free, that's usually not a good character if they're given to you for free, because they want to incentivize you to pull on a premium banner character like Gian or Yinlin. Now, let's go ahead and move forward. As you can see, they're tier 0. This last slot's very, very easy. We'll start at the bottom here and mix things up, because I want to talk about this. Taiki. Is it Taiki or Taichi? Please correct me in the comments on this. I don't think I know how to say her name right. Is it Taiki or Tauki or Tauchi? I don't know. But basically, the way that you play her is she's a boobs type character. So the way that you build her is all around her boobs. Because according to Pridewin, despite the fact that she's a healer, a multi-role character, a shielder, which I don't know if you've noticed, but usually multi-role characters or sustainability characters are seen as very, very powerful. Despite the fact that on paper she should be one of the best characters in the game, she's basically just boobs. She's got boobs, and she's got boobs. Yeah. Anyways, what I wanted to point out is that there's a whole entire tier missing here between her and the other characters because Pridewin wanted to make a statement to show people that they don't believe in her potential. I don't think she's quite this bad. I'd probably just keep her up here at tier 2, but I think that this is Pridewin making a bit of a statement. Hey guys, don't pull for the boobs character just because they got boobs, okay? She's not as strong as other characters are. Maybe this is a Pridewin slip-up. I'd say she's probably tier 2 personally, but I think they wanted to make a point here so that people don't feel like they should pull her just based on the fact that she's a boobs build. But that's what you build her for, boobs, because that's what she does, boobs. Now anyways, healing. We have Baija here, very, very reliable healer. This is my healer that I'm using right now. I have a Resonance Chain 1 version of her, so I got lucky and just pulled several copies of her. That's why she's partly so strong on my team, but she was already very strong, even at like level 1, bro. She's a healer, okay? I was clearing like really high level content with a Kilcharo, a Genshin, and just a level 1 Baija. Because as long as I switch to her and she doesn't take damage, I just heal really quickly and then switch to the other characters and she does her thing. She doesn't need to do any more than that. And she was absolutely slaying in that role. So can't say enough of good things about her. She does deserve the tier 1 slot. In fact, I'd argue maybe not tier 0.5. Okay, that's fair. A tier 1's a good slot for her. Now, you either love her or you hate her. It's yang yang. Some people want to murder her in the streets in game. Some people want to throw her off of a bridge in game. And some people want to wife her up. You either love her or you hate her. Because on the English version, her voice actress just like, it's just so bland and just so skittish. She sounds like she's afraid of her own shadow, which is crazy because every single time a fight breaks out, she's the first one there to power up. Dude, 5% of the time, she's the most badass character in the entire game. The entire 95% of the rest of the time, she's the most annoying character in the entire game. She started growing on me in the early game and then very, very, very quickly immediately started annoying me, and god dang it, whenever she talks I get worried that she's gonna piss me off. But anyways, she's a good character. Her placement is at tier 1 because her combat is really good. Dude, she's really, really fun to play. I'm not gonna lie, she's really, really fun to play. I will say that she's got a really good play style, but god damn it if she isn't annoying. And the last slot here, let's just say we're saving the best for last because Verena is the highest healing in the entire game, some of the best buffs in the entire game, and you can use your 5-star selector on her, which makes it somebody that anybody can get their hands on, and it's a very, very, very powerful pickup. You could even make the argument that she's the best character on the entire standard banner because she's the only healer on the standard banner and the only dedicated buffer on the entire standard banner, making her a somewhat of a rare character right now. Look at the support character slot. 1, 2, 3, 4 characters. That's it. Yeah, sure, Genshin also provides some good shielding. Yeah, sure, Rover has some good healing. But dedicated supports, we only have 4 of them in the whole game. 3 of them if you don't include Taoxi over here. So, yeah, you can see why she's so valuable. And some people worry that she's going to get power crept. But even if she gets power crept, she'd have to get power crept a lot of times, right? Because there's no other slots. And you need 3 teams to be able to take into Tower of Adversity. So it doesn't matter if she gets power crept several times. It's going to take probably an entire year of literally straight power creep over and over and over again for her to potentially be power crept out of her slot. I think she's going to be relevant for at least a year, maybe way more than that. That's just a prediction at this time, but that it is what it is. Anyways, if this was helpful and informative in any way, shape, or form, consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel. If you like Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, or Elden Ring DLC, I'll see you in a month. Please consider again leaving that like and subscribe. It really does help out. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.